don't be too desperate either. Make a genuine connection. Like, approach someone as if you really want to be that person's friend. I think that's the mindset you have to put yourself in without having to, like, what do I exactly do? All right, we are back once again for another YouTube video series and audio podcast series, which we'll get it up on Spotify soon. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the importance of networking, why it's important, and when it has worked for you.
I can easily say that I wouldn't be where I am today without networking. That's for sure. I previously said, one of our shows was that no matter how good you are as an artist, if you don't network, you'll only go so far. And that's true in pretty much any industry. And by networking, the most beautiful thing I think about networking is you'll find your mentor. That I think is super important. I would highly suggest networking, whether it's through, if you're shy, you can do it online through joining Discords, going on Reddit groups, talking with people, sharing your knowledge, even on Twitter. Just sharing your knowledge will attract other people to talk to you, discuss your ideas about whatever the topic is, about techno, producing, your way of doing things. And you'll inevitably network, and you'll make people in the industry. You'll meet bookers, you'll meet A&R, you'll meet other artists, and eventually you'll meet your mentor, which will be probably the best part of your life.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. But also to that, the networking aspect of it is that you will also meet not so cool people as well. And I think through that journey of, understanding who is real, who is not, who is there for you, who is not, all of that gets revealed through networking and meeting people and actually working with them. And not every, network that you connect with is going to be good. But you mentioned, through going through the process, that's how you find the ones that do stick, your mentors, your peers that will help you along the way.
So I have a question that, I guess it might be a stupid question, but what exactly do you guys specifically entail under networking? Because I've had a lot of people tell me different things, like, oh, you got to buy them drinks, or, oh, you hand over business cards, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what do you guys consider networking specifically, especially for guys like me who have almost zero skills in that arena, and have never really quote unquote networked or had to network for their job sakes? Like, what would you call networking exactly, or what actions are part of the networking?
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Because we are going to do a 4-part series on the networking, I think you're asking more like, well, how would a regular person and perhaps an introvert, how would they approach it? Like, what is that act? Without spilling too much about what we have in the upcoming episodes, ultimately networking, making a connection by being yourself, right? Do you normally buy people drinks, right? Like, if that's who you are naturally, then as you network, you should do what it comes naturally for you, right? And I understand that it may be difficult for people with for people that are naturally introverted or have social anxiety. But I think if that's too like straightforward, like, whoa, meeting and actually buying someone a drink, online saying hello, hey, nice track, or hey, I love what you do.
What I was gonna say. Yeah,
I love the party that you throw. I love the brand that you have. I love your label. Giving a nice compliment online is usually a good icebreaker. Don't be too desperate either. That's the thing. Make a genuine connection. Like, approach someone as if you really want to be that person's friend. I think that's the mindset you have to put yourself in without having to, like, what do I exactly do? It's because you want something from this person. And it's because perhaps you know that there's something they can give you, or they are my whole thing is just get that out of the picture, whether it's online or offline, and just do you. And I can break it down in further episodes in terms of that. But, it's so important that whatever makes you uncomfortable, but if you know that's what you should do, you need to go after it. That's how important networking is.
Another form for me for networking is just letting people know you exist. You could, in a sense, you could network without ever contacting anybody. You could have them come to you. One thing that built my friendship with Ostrich from Stereo and even got me on his radar was the fact that I would just post that I was making music every day. And eventually it came across him, and he said, who's this guy? Who's this guy making music? So there's multiple different ways to do it, but I think just letting the world know you exist is a form of networking. Whether it's showing up at someone's party and just saying hello, they know you exist, or putting sets out into the world.
Yeah. And hey, I want to even share a little online hack. this is a phase 2 tactic. If you really like this page, or you really like, you know, admire this person and really love their work, it's okay to really like their last 10 posts if you haven't liked it. Comment on their post, just like, man, cool. A thumbs up, a fire emoji, you know, or like a genuine comment on there, because chances are they're reading the comment. They know who's liking their post consistently, and that's that invisible networking. Like, hey, you may not have met, you may not even have DM'd that person, but you know that they exist. And that's so true for people that I've eventually met. Like, they will say, oh, hey, you know, Josh, for example, is like, oh, and then they'll say, oh, my username, you know, I go by this on Instagram. I go, oh, hey, what's up? Yes, you know, thank you for your comments, for your, and that to me is, you know, is the perfect example that they pretty much network without having to meet. And then when I met them, because they like my, you know, posts, or they always engage with my stuff, it helped broke the ice. And whoever did that to me, I just want to say good approach, because it worked.
Let them know you exist, any which way possible. And
that wasn't a dumb question at all, Kevin. Here, artists, electronic music, there are no such thing as dumb questions. So,
and I do like the way you guys broke it down, though. That makes it a lot easier, especially coming from a completely different background where networking wasn't a thing. Like, you don't need to network at all in certain the other occupations I do. So it's good to know what it is, because in other professions that I've worked in, like, networking was literally, you have to buy them drinks, you have to do this, you have to do that. So it's just kind of like, okay, so what exactly?
Hey, what's fun about this industry? Networking sometimes go beyond a drink. How about a bump? How about this?
I was gonna make a joke like that.
That was just like, oh man, that's like a networking. You know, I don't recommend that you end up being a fucking crackhead, but like, but I would have to say some of the best connections I've ever made was, you know, it shows an authentic side. I mean, as much as you want to put an armor up and whatnot, I mean, at ADE is a good example. You go to these workshops, these networking events. I mean, we're just having drinks. We're all shaking hands, being real professional. Then at 4 a.m., you know, behind the H7 warehouse with hard techno playing, you see that same promoter or that same agent there, and you know, we're time. And if anything, that reconnection makes it even stronger. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's an unspoken thing. But again, networking has various approaches. And look, Kevin, this is what you ultimately did. Kevin just applied for an internship that we had and then absolutely killed it. And now he's in our world. And that is brilliant networking, Kevin. He didn't know how to actually approach, because he came from a different world that didn't, you know, need networking. And he also didn't have that personality to even DM, but he found an opportunity, a small window. Like, you know what? If I apply for this and get it, automatically you'll be in our world. And that is like a networking hack 202 right there.
You know, like in 48 Laws of Power, shoot for the moon and you'd be surprised how many times you get it.
Yeah.
I love that.
And, you know, I want to just share my spill on this. Agreeing with you, Gino, without networking, I wouldn't be where I am today. This is a true story. I was a bedroom DJ from 2007 to 2010, just either playing at my own house parties that I would throw or just in my own bedroom, and always just blind DMing promoters for 3 years because I didn't know how to approach it. When I did, it was really bad. It was like, take my CD, here's my mix. And I was just like, that's not how you network. And it wasn't until by the third year, someone was like, hey, why don't you come check out our party, see if you like it. And if you like it, I think there might be an opportunity. From there on, I went out. I had mixtapes. I had a whole profile. I mean, it's been 3 years of DJing. And when that opportunity came, that was what opened up everything for me. And when I have to think back is, dude, I could have gotten a gig so much sooner, like a real one, had I stepped outside my own comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, yes. And then through that experience, I did meet my first two mentors in this industry. And, you know, they gave me the opportunity. So it is 100% true, Gino. And it's why, you know, I make it a point in phase one, like, because I understand it's hard, right? And networking is a mindset game. It just depends on your personality, your upbringing, everything. It makes people really uncomfortable. But, you know, I believe that what makes you uncomfortable, that's where you need to take action. What gives you anxiety is where you need to take action to break through that anxiety.
That my gig in Atlanta, And I did exactly what you said, to over prepare, what we talked about in last week's show. And that was the greatest thing I did. You got me there, bro. That covered me well. So yeah, you're totally right.
Got to give it a try, man. I mean, because most people just freak out over anxiety. They do nothing, or they like do something unproductive rather than just taking the action in. But yeah, that's pretty much, why it's important. And we will dissect it down in the upcoming episodes between some do's and don'ts, as well as how extroverts and introverts should approach networking. So we'll definitely unveil that for it. Yeah, if there's nothing else, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, ask more questions, and be sure to follow us because we are about to open up our monthly or possibly bi-weekly Zoom sessions. It's a great way for you to break out of your shell and to network. You can come on here and don't have to say anything. At least we can see your name. And now, again, it's what you mentioned, Gino, right? It's being present, being there alone will allow us to
know that they exist
around the presence. So yeah, catch you on the next episode. My name is Gia. We have Gino, Atrox. We have Kevin, /SVS Techno. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.